In our last lesson, we learned how through a series of territorial adjustments, through a series of changes, through a series of conflicts, Italian unification was finally achieved in the year 1871. In this lesson, we will be focusing on the formation of Britain as a nation state. Now, when we discuss the formation of Britain as a nation state, we should keep in our minds that Britain as a nation state was not formed the way Germany or Italy was formed. Because Britain's formation as a nation state did not happen because of a series of upheavals and conflicts. Instead, it was a long drawn process at the end of which the English people got their supremacy over the rest of the people living in the British Isles. So let us now begin this discussion on the formation of Britain as a nation state. Prior to the 18th century, the primary identities of the people who inhabited the British Isles were ethnic ones. So these were the English who lived in England, the Welsh who lived in Wales, the Scot who lived in Scotland, and the Irish who lived in Ireland. So these were separate ethnic groups, and these ethnic groups had their own ethnic identities. They had their own belief systems. So there was no one national identity to hold these various groups of people together. But over the years, it were the English people who gained their power and supremacy and authority in the British Isles. The English became the English nation in 1688 when the English Parliament declared itself independent from the monarchy at the end of a protracted conflict. So now, it was a new English nation state with England, with the culture, the wealth, the people of England at its center. And increasing wealth, power and importance of the English nation was actually the reason for which the English nation now started expanding itself as well as influencing the other nations in the British Isles. So it were the English who got to assert their domination, their supremacy in the British Isles. Now let us look at certain acts through which these different islands were incorporated and united with England. It were the Acts of Union of 1536 and 1542 through which Wales was united with England. So Wales, which was formerly a separate island, was now united with England. Then, through the Act of Union of 1707, Scotland also joined England and Wales, and together all these made up the United Kingdom of Great Britain. So Scotland, that was another separate island, now got drawn into this entire fabric, and together they made up the United Kingdom of Great Britain. Henceforth, the term British came to denominate or categorize all the people who lived in these regions. Now, it will be wrong on our parts to assume that this was a homogeneous nation, because we know that the Scots, the Welsh people had their own ethnic identities, and when they were united with England to form the United Kingdom of Great Britain, it was inevitable that with its greater power, with its greater influence, it were the English people who were dominating the Scots as well as the Welsh people. And this is exactly what was happening after these various acts of union. When Scotland became a part of England and together they made up the United Kingdom of Great Britain, Scotland's distinctive culture and political institutions were systemically suppressed. So the Catholic churches in Scotland were suppressed. The Catholic priests did not have the power to openly propagate their faith. They were severely repressed. In fact, the Scots were not even allowed to speak their own language or wear their traditional dress. The Scottish Highlanders were forbidden to speak their Gaelic language. So English was not the language of these Scottish Highlanders, mind you, but they were forced to speak English and give up their Gaelic language. At the same time, they were also not allowed to wear this national dress. And forcibly, many Scots were also thrown out of their lands. So can you understand how England had established its hegemony, its dominance over the various isles that together made up the United Kingdom of Great Britain through the several acts of union? And last but not the least, the Act of Union of 1800 also necessitated that Ireland now a part of Great Britain. So this entire British Isles now became Great Britain. So Ireland, Scotland, Wales, all these three islands were together united with England to give birth to Great Britain. And this is how Great Britain now began existing as a nation. And mind you, the most important point that we need to remember is that these were separate islands with their own ethnic identities, and all the ethnic identities of the Irish, the Scot, the Welsh were suppressed by the English people in United Kingdom. Now Ireland was another place where religious conflict continued to happen for many centuries. Now the Irish population was divided between the Catholics and the Protestants. And the English knew how to exploit this situation. They took advantage of the religious division in Ireland so that they could now spread their own ideas and assert their influence in this region as well. So the English people now started extending their support to the Protestants. And Ireland was a majorly Catholic country. So in this Catholic country, the Protestants were now being supported by the English people. And in this way, religious divide, religious conflicts took a serious turn in Ireland. And it was all because of how English people were taking advantage of this situation. These Catholics in Ireland, inside Great Britain, were henceforth severely repressed. They were not allowed to practice their faith. Their churches were often shut down. So the religious divide that was there for many centuries was now given further impetus by the English people. This religious division in Ireland was even further accentuated by a failed revolt by Wolfton, who was a revolutionary liberal in Ireland. He, along with the United Irishmen, tried to revolt against this English suppression, against how the Catholics were being repressed. But this revolt failed, and eventually Ireland was forcibly incorporated into United Kingdom in 1801. So Ireland was also in the process of being completely obliterated, or rather its national identity was in the process of being suppressed by the majoritarian English identity. I'm sure many of you could identify the song that played just now. Well, it is the national anthem of United Kingdom. Now when Ireland, Scotland, Wales were all incorporated into the United Kingdom, then various British symbols gained power, and these British symbols were given power by the English masses. So the symbols of New Britain were the British flag, the national anthem, the English language, and these were actively promoted by the British Parliament. In fact, this British Parliament was also dominated by the English members. So from this we can understand how the domination of English members in the British Parliament actually shaped how the British flag, the national anthem, which is God Save Our King, or even the English language, which was, mind you, not the language of the Irish, the Scots, the Welsh, now gained power. Now here we see how the flag of United Kingdom looks. Well, how did it come to look this way? Let us now trace this here. Firstly, the flag of England looked like this. And after England's union with Scotland, this flag now looked like this in 1707. And after England and Scotland were together united with Ireland, then the flag of United Kingdom looks something like this. So this is the flag of United Kingdom from 1801. So this is how the English culture, the English language, the English national anthem dominated Great Britain. Now at this point of time, not all Irish people were happy with how they were incorporated into United Kingdom, and so they began revolting. They began opposing this entire incorporation into United Kingdom. It was finally in 1922 that the Republic of Ireland now gained its independence. But 6 northeastern countries still remained part of the United Kingdom as Northern Ireland. So here we see the Irish Free State as it was called from 1922, and here we see Northern Ireland, which was still a part of United Kingdom. Now in this Irish Free State, the nationalists wanted to bring Northern Ireland under the control of Ireland entirely. And there were many nationalists, many Protestants in Northern Ireland who wanted incorporation with Ireland. But then there were a whole lot of Catholics who wanted to remain a part of United Kingdom. So this conflict between the Irish Free State and Northern Ireland was not to end anytime soon. Before proceeding with this lesson, let me ask you a question. When was the Irish Free State formed? Was it formed in 1907, 1918, 1922 or in 1925? Well, the correct answer is 1922. It was in 1922 that the Irish Free State was formed. So the southern part of Ireland became this new Republic of Ireland, or the Irish Free State. But the northern part still continued to remain a part of Great Britain, and it was called Northern Ireland. This is how the present day map of Great Britain looks. Now initially in the 20th century, the tensions between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland seemed to end, because devolved assemblies were set up in the Republic of Ireland, in Scotland, in Wales. But despite the establishment of these devolved assemblies, despite holding referendum in places like Northern Ireland or the Irish Free State or the Republic of Ireland, conflicts once again began. Now there were the Unionists in Northern Ireland who wanted British sovereignty over Northern Ireland. And there were the nationalists in the Irish Free State or the Irish Republic who wanted to bring Northern Ireland under the control of Ireland as a whole. So in this way, tensions kept on brewing up between the Northern Ireland on the one hand and the Republic of Ireland. Nonetheless, the United Kingdom managed to gain control over not just the British Isles in Europe, but in Africa and Asia by establishing its colonies through the 19th century. So it was during the 19th century that the United Kingdom had set up its colonies in different African and Asian countries and kept on exploiting them. Though those colonies have gained their independence and United Kingdom is now restricted to the British Isles, it still continues to exert its influence in the world. United Kingdom does not wield that much power in world politics as it used to do prior to the Second World War. The English language continues to be spoken by a huge number of people throughout the world. In fact, the English culture is also influencing different cultures in several parts of the world. Now, if we take into account India in this context, we will see that because of its history of colonization, a huge number of the Indian population speaks English. So English, despite being a foreign language, is spoken by many countries throughout the world. The English culture, the English language, the English way of living is continuing to exert its influence, exert its power throughout the world. With this, we come to an end of our discussion on the formation of Britain as a nation state. A very important point that we learned here is that Britain was not formed as a nation state because of upheavals and conflicts as it happened in the cases of Germany and Italy. But Britain formed as a nation state with the English nation establishing its power, its supremacy over the other islands in the British Isles. Then we learned about how United Kingdom of Great Britain was formed by uniting Scotland, Wales and even Ireland with England. And subsequently, Ireland gained its independence in 1922. So this concludes our lesson on the formation of Britain as a nation state. In a subsequent lesson, we will be pursuing a different line of discussion. All this while, we have been talking about how the spirit of nationalism played a very crucial role in the formation of independent modern nation states. But in a subsequent lesson, we will learn about how culture played a very important role, culture played a very decisive role rather, in spreading this idea of nationalism among the common masses. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million+ questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it's rewarding too. So register for free now.